afternoon, all. On behalf of IoT Academy, we welcome you all for the third session of National Level Faculty Development Program on IPR, Entrepreneurship Development and Startups. Let me introduce the resource person of today's session, Dr. Anil Kumar Kandare. Dr. Anil Kumar is an associate professor in General Management and Marketing Management, working in Institute of Business Management and Rural Development, Ahmednagar, Maharashtra. His qualifications include BSc, BGL, MBA, and PhD. He has 14 years of teaching experience for postgraduates, especially in the field of management. He possesses 20 years of industrial experience, out of which 10 years into insurance sector. Dr. Anil Kumar has also worked in publications, service industry, industrial marketing, and concept selling in various organizations. He has contributed 17 research papers in reputed national and international journals and has also published 2 books. He is also a member of All India Commerce Association. We welcome you, sir. And with this, we hand over the session to Dr. Anil Kumar. Sir, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. I welcome you all, and I'm thankful to IoT Academy provided to impart some information regarding Startup India. So thank you so much, madam, and welcome to the participant. See, 2016, 16 January 2016, around Government of India started with the various steps towards promoting entrepreneurship, Startup India, Make in India, and various schemes, intending that in future that Government of India should start with the different type of nations and India to be recognized as one of the developed country in the world. Right? In this aspect, IoT has provided this 3 days conference, and I've been given a chance to talk on Startup India. So we have to understand what Startup India is. So Startup India is that it is the platform provided for the companies to make their presence globally. This is one. Secondly, the companies to be provided with some infrastructure or some support system wherein the entrepreneur or the businessman can take advantage of competitive advantage over other companies or competitor in the world scenario as such. And there are many startup ventures in India. Now they are contributing around 73% of their GDP, 73% of their contribution as long as nation development is concerned. The GDP is rise by around 2.5% with the help of unicorn companies, that is Startup India. So now this scheme is launched on 16 previous slide, man. 16 January 2016, the flagship initiative of the Government of India. That I brief what is the flagship and what is the initiative Government of India has taken. And it is intended to catalyze startup culture and build strong and inclusive ecosystem for the innovation and entrepreneurship development in India. The conference which based on the IPR, that is Intellectual Property Act, right? That is to be registered as long as innovation to be a part of intellectual property of the company and innovation to be get protected. And the entrepreneurship that after is the various initiatives entrepreneurship that Government of India is boosting, like training and financing and consultation also. The objective of this Startup India is to supporting entrepreneurs and transforming India into a country of job creators instead of job seekers. Dedicated to Startup the purpose of Startup India is dedicated Startup India team which reports to the Department of Industrial Policy Program, that is DPIIT. DPIIT is the centralized agency of the central government. They are into activity and their mission is to ensure that every entrepreneur can come and form with this Startup India part and contribute to the Indian economy. Next, ma'am. What is the action plan of this Startup India, which Government of India initiative is? The action plan envisages to support the startup, and how they support, they enhance the infrastructure, including incubation centers, right? Various incubation, entrepreneurship incubation center, you might have heard on the first day, second day of this conference. The various incubation centers are set up. For education institute, technical education institute is concerned, the AICT, All India Technical Council, has already provided with the financial support and technical support to engineering colleges, polytechnic colleges, pharmacy colleges, and management colleges, where incubation center is funded by AICTE, that is Government of India, and especially for the socially backward people, that SC/ST category student, they are also provided with the financial benefit in the form of seed money and consultation also. Then this particular Startup India also make the procedure of easier for the IPR, that intellectual property rights, the procedure licensing are made easier, right? And facilitation, including easier patent filing also. IPR is taken one step ahead as long as patent registration is concerned, and that facility is provided to the entrepreneurs so they can enroll themselves, or they can develop themselves to the level of Startup India unicorn companies, right? The a better regulatory environmental, including the tax benefits, are also provided, and easier compliances, improved of setting up the company, faster exit and mechanism, and many more, right? These are the support system Government of India has developed in the form of tax benefits. Tax benefits are provided, and the compliances, the earlier compliances, government compliances were very lengthy and hectic for the entrepreneur to respond of. Hence, in view of this, that has made easier and improved. And the purpose of this is to the entrepreneur should be eligible and to be part of more than 100 crore group, and it is called unicorn companies. So that initiative is taken by Government of India. Then the other support system and economic stimulant in the form of rupees 10,000 crore funds are managed by the SIDBI. SIDBI is the centralized agency who will be funding for the entrepreneurship and startup India. And Government of India, in the budget provision, they already made a provision of 10,000 crore fund, right, which is managed by SIDBI for providing finance to the entrepreneur and startup who will be undertaking of this, right? Next. Uh, so now Government of India is an initiative. This is organized by the Department of Promotion of the Industries and Internal Trade. This is the department established and working under the central government, Industries and Commerce, right? And they are organizing departmental promotion, because many of the time this is what happened in Indian administrative system. There are various government schemes are there, but for the sector which they have, the sector people or sector are not aware about what type of schemes they've been provided or been supported by the Government of India. So the promotion activity being conducted with internal trade and trade fairs too. The major objective of the Startup India is to discuss some of the restrictive state government policies, which there are certain policies of the state government which may restrict the Startup India initiative. So, in view of that, Government of India has promoted a policy where license Raj is totally cancelled. The license will be provided by the central government. State government has nothing to do with it. You might have seen various news articles regarding the various project, international projects or MNC projects are get attracted towards the state, and each state is trying to fetch that particular industrial project to their respective states. So the license Raj is automatically cancelled. Then land permissions are made very easy. If you see, India is an agriculture-based country, and there was a scarcity of land as long as industrial plots are concerned. But with this Startup India, that says you might have heard, special economic zone, that land was occupied by the industry purpose, and that permissions, various permissions and various compliances are being curtailed, and that permission will be easily available for the Startup India or for the foreign nationals to get in, and auxiliary unit can be developed. The foreign investment proposals, earlier, before 1985, till we signed the GATT agreement, the foreign direct investment or foreign investment was restricted not more than 50%. But once we have signed GATT agreement, we will see the foreign companies are independently investing and independently operating in the country. Right? This is only because of the Startup India initiative which Government of India has taken. Now, foreign players can invest in or can start their own business in country like India without government restrictions. So that is one of the advantage. And in return, that Government of India has negotiated the employment or the betterment of the country, and the economy can be boosted, right? Then environmental clearance is also been made very, very easy with the Startup India. If once someone is registered with Startup India as a registered firm, then environmental clearance will be soon, or will be fastly delivered to the entrepreneur who is enrolled under the Startup India scheme. The Startup India scheme is based on majority of three pillars, which are, there are three pillars of Startup India. One is providing funding, right? Funding that I told you, 10,000 crores is already made available with the SIDB, the Apex Bank, for this. Incentive of the various startups in the country, funding financial, and to provide industry academia partnership and incubation centers, right? So the initiative of the IoT Academy is that, so that is the industry academia partnership, wherein faculties who are expertise into the area of industrial motivation or entrepreneurship development or Startup India, and there can be there would be soon after, I hope, IoT Academy come with the incubation center where student can enroll themselves with the innovative ideas, and they will be provided throughout consultation, right? Turnkey project consultation for their enterprise activity or entrepreneur or Startup India. So that initiative Government of India already have, and the education institute can certainly access that portal of incubation center of AICT and make them available to the student. So the student can undertake, and then innovative idea can be converted into a business idea, right? The third one is simplification of handholding, right? So anyone who is come out with the idea may not be having financial background, may not be having business background, may not be having geographical benefits. In spite of that, that person with the idea can be promoted. This is what the Government of India initiative in order to promote Startup India, lot more startups in the country like India. Next, ma'am. Next slide, please. Now, registration of the Startup India. How the entrepreneur, those who want to register themselves under the Startup India, or how someone can get it into the benefits of Startup India. So now this is the procedure, registration procedure of Startup India. A person should incorporate their business first either as a private limited company. Proprietor concern will not be considered. This is to be private limited company, or as a limited liability partnership, that is LLP, limited liability partnership, or as a partnership firm, along with obtaining certificates of incorporation, right? That company should be registered with the state or central government, right, as an entity. Then the company or entrepreneur should have the PAN number, that is industrial, the personal identification number is a company PAN number, and other required compliances, like the permissions, land acquisition, quotations, funding agencies, that project report, industrial project report, that comes under the required compliances. The second one is the person need to log into the official website, right? There is an official website, online website, where the Startup India, where she has to fill the essential details of the business in the registration form, and upload the required documents. This is what very made easy. You need not to uh, visit time and again to various government offices, right? So that entire process is available on the website. This online registration can be made, right? And required document to be registered on website itself, right? A letter of recommendations, incorporation, registration certificate, and the brief description of the business are some of the essential documents required to be registered for the purpose of getting enrollment into a Startup India initiative of the government. Since the startups are exempted from the income tax benefit, therefore they must be recognized by the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, DIPP. This is one agency, and certification will be issued. That agency in short is called DIPP. Before availing these benefits, also they should by certified by the Inter-Ministerial Board, IBM, right? This is central government agency, and this is the department Inter-Ministerial Board, right, to be eligible for IPR related to the benefits. What does it mean? That the entrepreneur who has started with their business, and he should or she should register itself with the IPR, intellectual property registration, that at least form to be filled. You might have attended the conference and first. So IPR is actually how to register IPR. What are the requirement of it? How to write the draft? That detail you might have been aware about it, right? So the IPR related benefits has to be passed. Therefore, you should have IPR registration. After successful registration and verification of the document, you will be immediately provided with the recognition number for your startup along with the certificate of recognition. That will be immediately, once the compliance is done, the registration will certificate will be issued immediately. This is the advantage of technology ICT, that the time should be saved of the entrepreneur who is into documentation and registration of the Startup India. Right? Next. And we'll try to understand who is eligible to apply under the Startup India. Right? Many of schemes of the government, if you read or if you try to understand or you attend lecture like this, then naturally that you feel that you should be registered. So now who can be registered to or apply for the Startup India scheme? An entity is eligible to apply for the Startup India when it is incorporated as a private limited company or partnership firm or a limited liability partnership in India. That registration has to be in India, a private limited company or limited liability partnership in India. It has less than 10 years of history, right? Minimum less than 10 years. If 10 years and above, that they may not be eligible. Less than 10 years of history, that is less than 10 years that you have elapsed from the date of its incorporation or registration. The turnover of all financial years since the incorporation registration has been less than 100 crore, right? This is the minimum eligibility to enroll entrepreneur or someone under the scheme of Startup India, right? Note, an entity formed by splitting or reconstruction of the business already in existence shall not be considered as a startup. So the chartered accountant or the tax consultant or business consultant many of the time suggested the parent company to be split into two and both the company to be enrolled into the benefit of Startup India. Basically, Startup India company is for the benefits of the sick business house or business house which needs some international support. This is what the intention of Startup India, right? Next. The benefits of Startup India, I told you the tax benefits is also there. Then land easily can be acquired. Then license Raj is also been escaped as long as Startup India benefits is concerned. To reduce the patent registration fees, any entrepreneur who registered IPR, that is intellectual property right, that fees, now whatever fees is there, so they've been the reduced fee structure is applicable to the companies who are registered under Startup India. Then improvement of bankruptcy code ensuring 90 days exit window. Right? What does it mean? See, in India, Industrial Dispute Act 1947, it is called layoff, and when company want to close their operation or want to shut down the company, by that time there are lot many liabilities are there as long as Dispute Act is concerned. Then compensation is there, VRS is there, then whatever benefits, service of length are there. So that entire thing was need to be completed for the regular company which is not registered under Startup India. But company registered under Startup India, they get just 90 days exit window. After 90 days, within the 90 days, they can exit without any liability. That liability will be taken care by the government of India. That is what I suppose. I really don't know if I promote a business and if at all it is failure. So I can easily execute if I register under Startup India. But it is really a matter of thought that whether government will take care of employees working under Startup India enterprise, right? To provide freedom from mystifying inspections and capital gain tax for the first 3 years of the operation, right? So this is what the very wonderful benefit in the form of financial benefits to the Startup India, startups in India, that 3 years capital gain tax is not applicable to them, right? Then mystifying inspections. There are various inspections are being conducted by various departments of the state and central government. So that inspection will be that freedom will be given to the Startup India. So they should not waste their time by complying and replying to the state government inspection authorities. So this is the advantage of it. To create an innovation hub under the Atal Innovation Mission, right? So the Startup India can need not to be have compulsorily that research and development, that R&D department should not be there compulsorily. They can install, they can have this Atal Innovation Mission where people will be working on the R&D. This is what public-private partnership activity is being conducted, and the major focus of this is see Microsoft company is running the innovation hub. And the people who are working in innovation hub, they are not liable to pay any amount to them. Every day they come on the online platform and the various ideas are discussed, right? That is called brainstorming activities are being conducted. Similar, this is the innovation hub where this Startup India can start and various ideas can be invited and considered as long as development of the startup project is concerned. Targeting 5 lakh schools along with the involvement of 10 lakh children in innovation related program, right? So this is the benefit. See, if I start with or you start with some business, so the free access of 10 lakh student, this 10 lakh brains will be working as long as innovation related programs are concerned. So any individual, I'm a promoter of the Startup India, may have the limitation of innovative product or innovative procedures into the company. But at the same time, these schools are being tied, 5 lakh schools are tied, and 10 lakh students will be related to the innovation. That is what the research and development, as long as registered startup projects or companies who are registered under the scheme. To develop new schemes that will improve IPR protection to the startup firms, right? The IPR is more significant as long as Startup India is concerned, that intellectual property registration will be provided to startup firms. And the advantage of this, the initially the monopoly business or monopoly advantage of economy can be taken by startup, and they can convert themselves into a bigger corporation, right? This is the advantage of Startup India. The next one is to encourage entrepreneurship throughout the country. The entrepreneurship is a culture. See, every nation or every state, every district, every social community, they have their own culture, right? That every culture depends on what type of culture. Accordingly, the people are developed themselves. Of course, education matters, and education can transform the person. But as long as cultural background of the person is concerned, that plays significant role. Hence, it is the initiative to develop the entrepreneurship culture in India. This is what the focus of Startup India, and entire nation can develop and adopt with the entrepreneurship or business startup culture into every small city of the country. So this is what the benefit of registered with the Startup India. To promote India as a startup hub across the world, right? If we want to see where how India should be, the dream of this project is that India should be Startup India, and every youngster or every alternate person should undertake the uh, enterprise or entrepreneurship and be a job provider to the people who are may not be capable of starting their entrepreneurship. Right? Next, man. Uh, Along with the policies and benefits provided by the government has taken measures to promote startup culture in the country. Right? So once scheme policy are from frame, and that after the execution is started, there is a need to take some measures to promote the startup culture in India, or for the success of any scheme. Right? So government measures are as a part of Make in India. This is Make in India is one of the measure of promoting Startup India, right? As a part of Make in India initiative, the government proposes to hold a Startup Fest at the national level annually to enable all stakeholders of the startup ecosystem to come together on the one platform to know in detail about the Make in India program and on the linked page. Right? Uh, this is the website of Make in India, and the measures is taken that every year there has to be one festival or maybe trade fair like Startup Fest on a national level, and which can enable the stakeholders, the entire citizen of the country, right, and to understand the startup ecosystem, right, to come together, and they use that platform to understand how startup schemes can be benefited, how Make in India can convert it to a startup where the employment generation and GDP can be increased of the nation. This measure is being taken by the government. The second measure, launch of Atal Innovation Mission. I told you in earlier slide, Atal Innovation Mission. This is what the every brain of a country is taken into consideration, that no idea is bad idea, and that idea is processed systematically with the help of consultants, subject expert, or people who are far better into some analyzing the thought process. And that Atal Innovation Mission Center is analyzing every idea in order to promote entrepreneurship through the self-employment and talent utilization, right? And that is in short is called SETU. SETU means self-employment and talent utilization. This is what the department Atal Mission Atal Innovation Mission has started, and it is called SETU, wherein innovators would be supported and mentored to because successful entrepreneurs. It also provide platform where the innovative ideas are generated, right? So I hope you understood what Atal Innovation Mission is. That schools are associated, then AICT have their own scheme of incubation center, and this is Setu is one of the measure that government has taken, wherein every individual can participate into generating innovative ideas, right? And that can be converted into a business, that can be converted into a startup project of the country, right? It also provides platform where the innovative ideas are generated. Relevant details are available on Atal Innovation Mission, right? That is available on the web page. Next, ma'am. Government measure to promote startup culture in the country. The incubator set up in public-private (PPP). You might have understood that many of the time the initial address of Honorable Prime Minister has addressed in his first public address to people that he was talking about PPP, right? That is public-private partnership, that incubant set up by the public-private partnership to ensure professional management of the government-sponsored or funded incubators. The government will create a policy and framework for setting up incubators across the country in a public-private partnership. The incubator shall be managed and operated by the private sector, right? So if you want to read more or understand more, you can refer public-private partnership, right? On the Google, and you can understand how many projects or how which projects are running under the public-private partnership. If you could see, I really don't know the topography of the participant, but I can understand the Honorable Transport Minister, Central Government of India, Nitin Gadkari ji, has connected the entire nation with the very big road and the projects which is being conducted by me, the PPP, that is a public-private partnership. The role of state government is to acquire the land. The rest of the construction and other aligned outcome of his development of the infrastructure is promoting for the agriculture availability of water for the agriculture purpose. So that if you go with the detailed plan of Nitin Gadkari, you will understand how public-private partnership activity has been successfully conducted in the country, right? 35 new incubators are existing institutions. Funding support of 40% shall be provided by the central government and 40% funding by the respective state government and 25% by the private sector. This is the combination of PPP, right? 40% by central government, 40% by the state government, and 20% funding by the private sector, right? People who are into business, they are private parties, and they can be a part or they can have equity of 20% and they can promote uh, the PPP projects, right? 35 new private sectors incubators, a grant of 50% subject to minimum rupees 10 crore, right? So 50% grant subject to 10 crore. The cost of project shall be provided by the central government for the incubators established by the private sector in the existing institution. What does it mean? That government of India is providing up to 10 crore rupees or 50% of the project cost. Say, for example, the cost of project is 20 crores, then central government will provide you 10 crore rupees on or else it will be provided by the private agencies or private partnership, and the innovative idea can be executed, and to ensure that particular entrepreneur or enterprise can be converted to a startup India and the global benefit can be drawn out of it. Next, uh, Startup India Seed Fund Scheme. This is Startup India various supporting system and various measures along with. This is the Startup India Seed Fund Scheme, right? The seed means if you have any idea and you have to develop that, crop that, and to make into a big tree, right? This seed scheme, the financial support will be given, has been implemented with the effect from the 1st April 2021. The scheme aims to provide financial assistance to the startup as a proof of concept, prototype development and product trial, market entry and commercialization. These are the areas where Startup India's seed fund scheme is operating. Start India for Prosperous India. New initiative for the startup is a certification, you can see the image and you can have the screenshot as well to understand how Startup India, this is from the website of the Startup India, right? Self-certification and compliances that will be considered to register under the Startup India. Then no inspection for first 3 years. That is what the silent features which I had taken. And this small rocket indicates that every business can reach to the sky. Next, ma'am. The benefits to startup by the Indian government. Startup India initiative is intended to build a strong ecosystem, right? You try to understand what ecosystem is. Ecosystem is the people or the entrepreneur, the incubation center, the entire people, entire community, entire society, that all together of thinking. It is like a festival. Say, for example, Diwali is a festival, Pongal is a festival, or whatever festival, irrespective of the background, financial background, irrespective of the cultural background. So that particular festival become a ecosystem or culture system of the state or nation, right? So this uh, ecosystem of startup and entrepreneurship and IPR registration is to be built. This is what the intention of the Startup India, wherein various projects to be taken and that ecosystem to be built. Right, that responsibility is taken by the government of India and state government together. Right, that conducive the growth of the startup. It aims to empower startups and achieving growth through the innovation and technology. So how this ecosystem can be developed? This ecosystem can be developed with the help of innovation, send various innovation centers and technology together, right? So the ecosystem of Startup India can be developed. This is what the plan of the government is. Then second is to promote growth and help Indian economy. Many benefits are being given to the entrepreneurs establishing startups, right? So this is how this ecosystem will be developed. Say, for example, in incubation center or innovation center, there are around 100 entrepreneurs who are come out with 100 new ideas, and they have registered themselves under the Act of IPR, Intellectual Property Act, but they don't have any financial support, or they don't have any marketing potential, or they have geographical limitation to establish their business. In that case, Government of India, under the scheme, they provide growth and help Indian economy. Many benefits being given the entrepreneur establishing the startup. Right, consultation is provided, production land is given, tax benefits also given, right? So the many of the time there are various directorates who will be helping the innovation and entrepreneur who are registered under Startup India at the personal level, and some private partnership will be made them available as an expert, and they ensure that no business will be shut down hereafter, right? So the earlier scene was that entrepreneurship, anyone start with the business, and maybe year or two, or maybe after a decade, the business is get closed down. Many of the time because of the inability of the entrepreneur, because that is his personal efforts, and other people are don't participate, or government will not support them into that. So this Startup India, government will ensure that business should not be shut down at any cost, that all type of benefits will be provided. The startup recognized through the Startup India initiatives are provided ample of benefits for starting their own business in India, right? This is what the scheme in all is intended, that every individual like you and me can be entrepreneur, and we been support provided support, so our business can be grow and we can contribute in the GDP of the nation, right? Next, man. Simple process, right? The government of India has launched mobile app, right? You can visit to a website and you can download that uh, mobile application and website for the easy registration of the startup. Anyone interested in the setting up startup can fill up the simple form, right, on the website and upload the certain documents for the entire process is complete online. that entire process is online. That is what the advantage, that you need not to rush to various places for the understanding where form is available, where to fill the fees, from where to get NOC. That all been eliminated. It has made simple. It is available on online, that any person who can read, write, understand can apply for the registered himself under the scheme. And once you are registered with the innovative ideas, then it is the rest consultant job, that he will ensure that your idea can be converted into a business or enterprise. How your idea, and as well how to get registered under the Act of IPR, right? Then it is made cost effective, the reduction into a cost. The government also provides list of facilitators of the patent, right, and trademarks, right? Government itself is providing you the patent registration facility, then trademark availability. They will provide high quality of intellectual property rights services, right? Some consultants are there who are there behind these innovative ideas to be registered and get patented, right? They will provide you high quality of intellectual property rights services, including fast examination of the patent at lower fees. The government will bear all facilitators' fees, because the consultant are appointed, that I told you in earlier. If you visit our Startup India website, you can see the list of consultants along with their area of expertise. So they will be working free of cost for the entrepreneurship development. That payment will be made by Government of India, as they have been empaneled by the Government of India on their payroll or on their consultation, or maybe some remuneration will be is provided to the consultant, right? They will only enjoy they will enjoy 80% of reduction in the cost of file. The person who is registered in the Startup India, they will enjoying the 80% of reduction in cost. Say the required cost would be 100 rupees. In that case, the entrepreneur or the startup promoters, we have to just to pay 20% of the patent fees, right? Next. See, now this funding, or to start with any business, there has to be easy access to the funds. That I told you, 10,000 crore rupees provision are made already for providing funding to the entrepreneurship and the Startup India through the SIDB, that is the Apex Bank, as long as providing funding or approving the project, industrial project, that benefits will be passed, right? So the government also gives guarantee to the lenders of the to encourage the banks and other financial institutes providing the venture capital, right? Venture capital arrangement can be made out of this 10,000 crore fund, which is corpus, which is available. Tax holidays for 3 years, that I am talking time and again, but this is the, of course, the person who has started who can understand the gravity of 3 years tax holiday means what, right? Apply for the tenders. So if I start with some project, and if there is a government tender, that apply tenders, the priority of preference will be given to the companies who are registered under Startup India. Startup can apply government tenders, and they exempted from the prior experience or turnover, right? Some big projects, if there is turnover and something like that, that will be benefited, right? If you don't have that, then still you can apply for the tender, and there is a likely chances that tender can be fetched by the startup startup company, right? Next. Research and development, I told you how Atal innovation centers are working, how 5 lakh schools and 10 lakh brains are utilized. That R&D facility is provided to the entrepreneurs or to Startup India, and the various brains all together working and routing that particular through Setu, right? The 7 new research parks will be set up and provided facility to startup in research and development. The 7 R&D that Setu will be established soon, out of which Bangalore is already established, Delhi, Gurgaon is already established, Pune is one of the established, and there will be another seven research parks will be established in the country to promote Startup India. Uh, of course, no time consuming compliances that we are talking time and again. It is an online process, and it can be easily accessed by every startup entrepreneur who want to do this. The various compliances have been simplified from the startup to save time, money. Startups shall be allowed to self-certify compliances through the startup mobile app within 9 labor and 3 environmental laws. Right? Only 3 labor and 3 environmental laws are there. Right? The huge list of laws and acts are not necessary for the compliances. Tax saving for the investors. The people who are investing into Startup India or entrepreneur, they've been provided with the tax, right? Earlier, say for example, you have 10 crore rupees and you have to invest into the company, then your tax liability remains the same. But now, if you invest into a startup registered company, then you will be getting benefits of investing into Startup India or entrepreneurship development or innovation center wherever. So that tax benefit will be availed by this is what one to attract private investors to the Startup India project. Next. The other benefit to choose your investor. See, now investor is, you can choose. This is what the wonderful part. Basically, earlier days of entrepreneurship or earlier business type that you cannot, whoever will be giving money is God for businessman or entrepreneur. Now, this time there are n number of people available, and you can choose your investor who should invest into your business, who should not invest into your project. After this plan, the startup will have an option to choose between uh, venture capital, giving them an liberty to choose their investors, right? So investors can be chosen by the entrepreneurs or startup promoters, right? This is the biggest advantage. Easy exit, I told because I don't really like to talk about because this initiative is such key. No entrepreneur will shut down his business and go away from this. But in spite, if anything mishappened or some policies, government policies may not hamper, but there could be a business competition. And in that case, that startup can shut down their business into 90 days, right? And there is a facility given under this to meet other entrepreneurs. I said annual event will be conducted, and that is the platform wherein uh, entrepreneurs can meet each other and exchange their ideas, and that information can be useful to come out of future problems of the company, right? So that platform is being provided. The government has proposed to hold two startup fest annually, both national and international level, enable various stakeholders and startup to meet. This will provide huge network opportunity. The network, the advantage of this fest is the networking will be done and they can support each other, right? Next one. The Indian startup ecosystem drivers, challenges, and pillars of the support that we have discussed so far. What is the scheme, how to whom it is, and how it works, which area, how financially is benefited, how innovation wise, how IPR is benefited, how government will provide support to them. What is the innovation center, the role of innovation center, role of AICT, role of schools and school children's. Now, this Indian startup ecosystem, what are the drivers? These growth drivers of the Indian ecosystem need to be understood in the context of various factors earlier, economic reforms and current market trends, as well as the the impact of technological change and changing attitudes of as a part of government and large companies and the society overall, right? These are the at the same time it is a driver as well as this is the challenge, and this can be stand as a pillar, right? The growth drivers of the Indian economy that we talk about India is now a nation of youngsters, right? Every Indian average age is say from 20 to 35 years of age. This is the advantage. But how we can take benefit of this with the help of technology or with the help of government policy, or how the earlier economic policies were hampering, now the new economic policies can be benefited, right? So this can be sometimes same is the driver, same is the challenger, same may be pillar, and same can be converted into a support, right? As the Indian economy continues to grow, income and purchasing power already increasing and steady rising of the consumption of the growth, right? And grow being one of the four household of today to one or two household in 2020 30, right? So this is the growth opportunity available as Indian society is concerned and Indian economic environment is concerned. This ecosystem will ensure, right? Will by 2030 it will be but the projected will be India will be a country with the entrepreneurship or ecosystem or business ecosystem or entrepreneurship environment, right? Next. So this is what you can access on the website, that this is the eligibility of the registration under the Startup India, right? So eligibility registration under private limited or limited liability partnership company, it should be 100 crore turnover, right? From its inception, and is working towards innovation and development or improvement in the products or processes service, or if it is scalable business model with the high potential of employment generation and wealth creation. This is what your innovation should be like. What that your innovation should be ensure that it can provide improvement into product, process or service, or it is scalable business, right? The scalable business, it can be measurable. There are a number of business which cannot be scalable, and it should have high potential of employment generation and wealth creation. This is what the eligibility of registered into a Startup India. Next, the to take advantage of technological change, right? This is one of the benefit to get Startup India successful is the technology startups play crucial role, right? Technology, you might have seen Paytm is a technological, that is a unicorn company, Startup India. Paytm is a Startup India. MOB is the company which is Startup India company. There are, I told you, 73% of GDP, 1.2% they have development, 73 point companies, right? Uh, because of their potential and scalability expanding growth, the digital payment have become more widely available in the recent years. Startup can serve legions of a new customer. Increased political will. The political will has been increased and the government support has been created, and the concern is also been seen and various ventures of the country. The federal as well as some of the state government has increasingly recognized startups and important engines for the economic growth. Moreover, startups are expected to create jobs that will narrow the high unemployment rate in the country, right? So this is what the technological change may help Startup India to be soon to take charge of the better economy of the nation. Next. Next, ma'am. Right, the Startup India was initiated. Next one. Next, I already talked about this. So far, 14 companies increasingly seek engage in open innovation center. This is what the idea like of this plan is. The R&D, research and development, is no more to be maintained by the company, and the public at large can be a part of innovation center, right? Atal innovation centers are there where people, company need not to establish their research and development, and various idea can be processed technically with the team of consultant, right? The changing perception towards the entrepreneurship, the success stories of the remarkable exist India first unicorn have been received much media attention. Subsequently, some founders have become India's startup heroes, contributing to the current image of the entrepreneurship, right? A cool, glamorous, despite of some hype, the social acceptability of entrepreneurship careers is indeed increasing, right? This is increasing. This is what the I'm reading the roadmap of the success of Startup India. Next. So challenges that may not be a part of as long as startup is concerned. That is also taken care by government of India. They are already rated what are the types of challenges might face by the entrepreneurs, right? Building and scaling the India, then diversity and the digital divide, right? Then taking products to the market and low willingness to pay, right? The type of market, then hiring qualified employees and complex regulatory environment. Now, this is what the government of India has already removed from their licensing. Complex regulatory environment has been changed, right? So, since government of India has taken these challenges, and so far the entrepreneurs need not to face this, right? Next. Uh, the state of ecosystem that I already told, evolution of Indian economy, entrepreneurship has been developed, and the ecosystem wherein evolution of Indian startup ecosystem. One west shade of the investment received 2009. The Bangalore-based e-commerce startup hub Flipkart. This is the company. This is one of the startup company of the country, right? And government of India promoted in 2009 back, right? Between 7,200 and 277,000 tech supports were incepted, which equates the overall basic of 12 to 15% of the e-commerce equity into GDP. Right, first Indian unicorn was in Mobi. This is the unicorn company registered in the Startup India. Right, it is a technological base and where innovation is done by the engineering student at incubation centers. Next. Next. So these are the list of the company year wise. Previous list you can take. This is 2014, 16, 17, 18. These are the InMobi, the first company. Then Snapdeal, Ola Cabs, Hike, Shopclues, Byju's. These are the unicorn companies. Next map. 2019. These are the various companies which have started registered under the Startup India and doing well. Next. Geography of the startup support, how they have started. NASCOM and other agencies have changed their role from controlling to supporting system. Next. Earlier they were controlling and elements of the startup system. You can have the screenshot of this, how ecosystem can be developed, how to understand the ecosystem can support to the entrepreneurship and Startup India. Next. That I already discussed with this. These are the three major elements interdependent on each other: office space and infrastructure, which is obvious questions that can be taken care by the once you are registered under Startup India or Entrepreneurship Atal Innovation, that can be taken care by government. Funding and assistance with the fundraising agencies, business support and mediation. That is also been done under the scheme, right? Next. So I conclude with this. In the present time, startup in India were witnessing the golden chapter in the history of Indian entrepreneurship. However, still the Indian government has a crucial role to play in positioning of India as a technical garage of the world. It should act as a catalyst and bring together the synergies of the private sector and aim to innovating the India and the world, right? Integration with the school curriculum, right? That is what is expected. Has already started. National Education Policy 2020. Now it is executed, right? Bridging digital divide, promoting agri startup business, startup in high end technology, right? This is what the initiative of the Startup India, which I have find highlighted and which is need to be understand by the future entrepreneurs in the country. Next. Thank you very much. Any questions so far?
The
Ma'am,
session
any
is
question?
open for the session is open for discussion now. You can unmute and interact with the resource person, or you can post your questions in the chat box also. Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Right. Welcome. Anyone right now, if you don't understand what to ask, you can mail to IoT Academy, and then that question query can be answered by me. They can mail me the question through IoT Academy. Right, participant? Ma'am, is it okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Dear participants, do you have any queries? You can post it in the chat box also.
Pramod Shakkarkar. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Pramod. Right, ma'am. One of the participants has mentioned vote of thanks. Thank you so much. I am thankful to IoT Academy given me opportunity. Thank you so much. Ma'am, shall we conclude or what?
Yes, sir.
Right, because we
On
started
behalf of
getting
sir,
we start getting message of thank you
Pramod, sir, do you have any questions, sir?
from my side.
No, sir. Pramod, sir.
No, Pramod sir don't have. He has already mentioned vote of thanks, and rest other participants like Priya, then Yashoda, then another B Priya, then Mamta ma'am.
Yes, sir, we will wind up, sir. On behalf of IoT Academy, we thank Dr. Anil Kumar, sir, for the detailed, excellent, and enriching session. And we thank you once again for the amazing presentation, sir. And we thank you for enhancing our knowledge with the commendable presentation. We thank you very much for your efforts, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. I thank all the participants for joining the session today. Kindly submit the feedback form using the link that will be posted in the chat box now. Thank you all. Have a great day. Thank you, sir. It was an amazing session, and we thank you very much for your efforts, sir.
Thank you.
Please submit the feedback form using the link that has been posted in the chat box. Dear participants, the certificates will be delivered through mail within evening. Please check in the spam folder and in promotional messages also. Dear participants, the certificates will be delivered through mail within evening. Please check in the spam folder and in promotional messages also. Thank you all. Have a great day.